Good morning, dear students. This is Mrs. Anju Malim from Springfield School, Masaptang, biology teacher for class 10. As you all know that we are doing lesson number 8, heredity, and we have covered most of the topics. Today I am going to talk to you about the evidences of the evolution, how are species formed, homologous and analogous organs, and also the evidences from fossils, human evolution, and human being a moving museum. So these are the topics. If we discuss, with that we complete the lesson. Let us start with evidence of evolution. How new species are evolved. Now, what are species? Species are those group of organisms which can breed among themselves. Like cat is a different species and dog is a different species, right? Though both are mammals. So, species is a group of organisms which can breed among themselves. Speciation is an evolutionary process of the formation of the new and distinct species. The species evolve by genetic modification. The new species are reproductively isolated from the previous species. That is, the new species cannot mate with the old species. An example of speciation is the Galapagos finch. Different species of these birds live on the different islands in the Galapagos archipelago. Archipelago means group of islands located in the Pacific Ocean of South America. So, children, we can see different species of birds in the Galapagos Island. Now we will talk about the differences between the homologous and the analogous organs which talk to us about the evidences of the evolution. What are homologous organs? The organs which have similar that origin means similar same internal structure but perform different functions are called homologous organs. Homologous organs are those organs which have the similar structure but perform different functions. Whereas analogous organs are those organs which perform the similar function but they are different in their origin. What do we call embryonic origin? Okay. Homology indicates the divergent evolution. That means the evolution process through which homologous organs have developed is called divergent evolution, and the evolution process through which the analogous organs develop is called as the convergent evolution. Now let us see the examples. Wings of a birds and forelimbs of humans. Wings of a birds and forelimbs of humans. They both perform the different functions but they have similar embryonic origin. I will show you in the next slide. And whereas if you see the octopus eye or the mammal's eye, they perform the same function but they are different in their embryonic origin. You can see here homologous organs of the different organism: man, cheetah, whale, and bat. What are they all doing? They all are having the similar embryonic origin. They have the same structures but those organs are performing the different functions. Whereas if you talk about the analogous organ, that is the second picture, wherein we have the wing of insect, wing of bird, wing of a bat, we have different wings here. They all are performing the same function but their embryonic origin is different. Okay. What is embryology? Have you heard about the word embryo? Yes, the zygote, the egg and sperm fertilizes to form the zygote. The zygote will develop into the embryo, then will develop into the fetus, and the newborn is born, infant. Now, embryology is the study of the formation and development of an embryo and fetus. Before widespread use of the microscope and the advent of cellular biology in the 19th century, embryology was based on descriptive and comparative study. If you want to view this, you can view this. You see the similarities. First is the fish, how the fish embryo has developed. Second is the salamander, then tortoise, then chick, then rabbit, and then mammal. What do you see in the first row? All are having the gill slit and the tail. Even the man embryo is having the tail and the fish embryo is having the tail. That shows that the evolution, how does the evolution takes place. Forelimbs, hind limbs, they are all present in all animals. Now, here you have to remember what is the comparison that we have to do. Comparison of what? How has the evolution taking place? What does it indicate? The life history of every individual exhibits the structural features of their ancestors. Yes, that is very important. Another example is fossil. Fossil is also the evidences of the evolution. What are fossils? Fossils are the evidences of ancient life forms or the ancient habitats which have been preserved by the natural processes. Fossils evidence is typically preserved within the sediment deposited beneath water and land. They can be actual remains of once lived, such as bones or seeds, or even traces of past events such as dinosaurs' footprint or ripple marks on prehistoric shore. Here you have to remember fossils are the preserved remains of living organisms from remote past. Fossils mainly preserve only a portion of the dead organism, skeleton or bone or teeth. Fossils may vary from microscopic single bacterial cells to dinosaurs. So layers of fossils are formed one after the other over the years. And remember, geologists can tell the age of the fossils also. The study of fossil is called as the paleontology. This is very important. The study of fossil is called as paleontology. Now we are going to learn how the scientists study the age of the fossils. Here children, you have to remember one thing, the breakdown of the radioactive isotopes. You know, this paleontology is the study of fossils, and the person who does it is called as a paleontologist. Determine the age of fossil by using the carbon dating system, wherein the breakdown of the radioactive isotopes of certain elements such as carbon, uranium and potassium take place at a known rate. So the age of the rock or mineral containing isotope can be calculated. This information is there in the PDF and also in the textbook. Scientists determine the age of fossil by measuring the amount of the radioactive decay. Half-life describes how long it takes for one half of the radioactive atoms in a sample to decay. The rate of radioactive decay is constant. Scientists can use the amount of radioactive element remaining in a rock or fossil to determine its age. So this technique is called as the carbon dating method, where we are using the isotopes of the radioactive elements such as carbon, uranium and potassium. Remember, carbon, uranium and potassium isotopes are used. They are the radioactive elements. Now here you can see that the relative age is only looking at the fossil's position in the rock layer. One can tell that it lived before some organisms but after others. Absolute age is the actual age of the fossil can be determined by a method called the radiometric dating or radioisotope dating. As I told you, carbon dating method. That is examining the amount of radioactive decay in a fossil or surrounding rock. So they will try to study the radioactive elements present in the rocks, their decay time, that is called as the half-life. They study that and they try to find out. Now children, when we talk about the fossils, one very interesting thing is that you must visit this Birla Science Center in Hyderabad. It has the one fossil of dinosaurs which was actually belonging to the Jurassic age going back to about 160 million years. It is collected from the Yamanapalli in Adilabad district of Telangana. This fossil has 14 meters length and 5 meters height. This fossil is preserved at BM, that is Birla Science Center in Hyderabad. It is called as the Ketosaurus. You can have a view of this if you visit the Birla Science Center in Hyderabad. Please try to visit that place. Now I'm going to talk to you about the human evolution. Now, actually, in the textbook it is given upside down, so it is the reverse diagram which I am going to show here. How did the man got evolved? The present man is called as the Cro-Magnus modern man. Now, the apes, they are belonging to the Dryopithecus, that is 20 to 25 million years. After that came into existence Ramapithecus. Ramapithecus. They are 15 million years ago. Then came the third stage of humans, which are called as the Australopithecus. Australopithecus. And then came the fourth stage, that is the Homo habilis, and then the Homo erectus. Then came the Homo neanderthalensis, and finally came the last one is the Homo sapiens. So from the Homo sapiens, the Cro-Magnus has come. You can remember as this as the 5 stages. The 5 following are the 5 stages of the human evolution: Dryopithecus, Ramapithecus, Australopithecus, Homo erectus, Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, Homo sapiens, that is the modern man. Now I'll talk to you about a very interesting topic which is called a human being, a moving museum. Now, what do you understand from this? As I have already discussed with you in the theory of use and disuse, in my previous video, we have talked about the appendix in our body. Now, in herbivores, the appendix plays an important role, but it has become a vestigial organ in human beings. There are many vestigial organs, nearly 180 different types of vestigial organs. So, human being is described as a moving museum by the Wunderschheim. Moving museum of antiquities, or a moving museum of vestigial organ. You know, children, sometimes vestigial organs are abruptly appears even in the human beings. This phenomenon is called as the atavism. And the example is baby with tail. You must have observed many people having one extra thumb, extra finger, like that. So remember, these vestigial organs can be the hair on the pinna, or they can be hair on skin, or sometimes mammary glands in males. That is why the human beings is said to be a moving museum of vestigial organs. So just remember the term atavism. It is nothing but the sudden appearance of the vestigial organs. It's called as the atavism. Example is baby with tail. So today we have seen speciation, evidence of evolution, homologous and analogous organ, evidence from embryology, study of fossils, that is evidence from fossils, human evolution, and human being a moving museum. With that, we complete this lesson and also the syllabus of the 10th class. Lesson number 9 and 10 are only for project. Lesson 7, lesson 9 and lesson 10 are only for project and activities. So kindly do the homework, complete your notes from the PDF and start learning the question answers. Write the difference between the homologous and the analogous organs. How do scientists study the age of fossils? All these answers are there in the PDF. I hope you understood the concept. Thank you very much for watching this video.